Diagnosing a water leak complaint in a convertible top can be one of the toughest jobs you'll have to handle. This video has been put together with the help of the people who install and maintain convertible tops to make it easier for you to pinpoint the source of a water leak. Specifically, we'll be dealing with diagnosing leaks in Mustang convertibles. This video will only show you diagnostic techniques. Once you know how to isolate the source of the leak, then you can go to the shop manual for the specific procedure to correct it. You'll find out that you can do the job easier and faster if you follow the same procedure the experts have developed to diagnose water leaks. You'll also find that you'll be fixing it right the first time. The experts say you should always follow the same specific diagnostic procedure. This tape will show you that procedure. You should also be familiar with the convertible top primary adjustment points. Adjustments made at these points will help you correct a problem in the least amount of time. And to help you out, this video includes some technical tips and shortcuts the experts use anytime they have a water leak complaint. The reason diagnosing convertible top water leaks can be a problem is because the whole system has to work together for it to work right. Because of the way convertible tops operate, you can see that even if you have a leak in only one place, you may not be able to make just one adjustment, because it's possible to make an adjustment that corrects one problem and creates another problem somewhere else. So tip number one is be sure to check the overall fit and operation of the top after each adjustment until you're certain the whole unit is working correctly. If you do have a leak because something isn't fitting right, you may not need to repair or replace anything. You might just need to adjust or realign it. Always check out alignment and weather strip seals first. Also, you should always try fine-tuning a mechanism before you do any major repairs. It'll pay off because you'll use up a lot less time and effort. So tip number two is don't repair something that only needs adjustment. In other words, never start the diagnostic process by taking things apart. It's important to start any water leak job with a careful diagnosis, no matter what the complaint is or where it shows up. And the most important part of good diagnosis is following a specific set procedure. You start the diagnosis with a thorough visual inspection, inside and out. It might seem like the first step in the diagnosis should be a water test to verify the complaint, but the pros say to hold off on that until you've done your visual inspection. The specific complaint will be written up on the RO, and sometimes the problem will be obvious: a stain on the inside, or a gap in a seal, or water streaks on a window. There's no point adding more water to the problem until you've corrected any conditions that you can see. Begin the visual inspection by checking for misalignment. There are three areas where you're most likely to spot misalignment: the top linkage, the door glass, and the quarter window. You always begin with an inspection of the overall top alignment because the door glass and quarter window glass will be adjusted to fit the top. First, verify that the top is centered on the windshield header. If the top is not centered on the header, you'll need to make fore-aft or inboard-outboard adjustments to the stack assembly according to the procedures in the shop manual. Next, check to be sure the fit is even side to side. And the rails are level and parallel. A common misalignment is at the first pivot point. If it's down bowed or up bowed, adjust the Allen head set screw in between the front and center side rails to bring it into line. If the rails are straight but the seal still doesn't look good, you need to adjust the upstop inside the door panel. Check the shop manual for the adjustment procedure. Remember, don't start a major repair procedure if you can fix it with an adjustment. Now look at the weather strip seals. They should fit even from side to side along the rails. Finally, stand behind the vehicle and look across the third bow on the top. The height should be even from side to side. If the bow height isn't even side to side, you'll have to shim the third bow. Now that you've verified that the top linkage alignment is correct, the next step is to do a visual inspection of the door glass alignment. Careful adjustment of door glass can solve a lot of water leak problems, but the procedures described in the shop manual are very specific, and you must follow them exactly. The first step in diagnosing the door glass alignment is to make sure there are no gaps between the top of the glass and the weather strip. Next, be sure the door glass is flush to the outboard division bar with no gaps between the bar seal and the glass. Then check the weather stripping. The weather strip on the rails should fold when the window is closed to form a good seal. And be sure there is an even fit along the A-pillar weather strip. The shop manual will give you the correct procedure if you need to make an adjustment to the door glass. Here's another tip. A good way to give yourself a reference point for adjustments to the door glass is to use a grease pencil. First, make an alignment mark along the belt line molding. Then you can remove the door trim panel and make the necessary adjustment. Be sure to check the shop manual to be sure you're making the right adjustment for the condition. After you've verified top linkage and door glass alignment, you're ready to do the visual inspection of the quarter window. For the quarter windows, start the diagnosis with the top down and both the door window and the quarter window up. The door glass and the quarter window glass should be even along the top. The rear edge of the door glass should be parallel to the quarter window division bar with about a 1/4 inch gap with the quarter window still laying on the seal. Make any adjustment you need to and cycle both windows. Then recheck the alignment. Adjust again if you need to until the alignment is correct. With the quarter window up, cycle the door window. The glass should hit the quarter window seal about 3/4 of the way up without crossing over the seal. Now run the top up and check the whole quarter window fit. If it needs adjustment, run the top down again because it's easier to make adjustments with the top down. Make sure that the vinyl isn't tight against the molding and the clearance is the same on both sides. Quarter window alignment is one of those places where checking the fine-tuning adjustment before you take it apart could save you a lot of time and effort. You have to check the shop manual carefully before you start adjusting because there are 5 different adjustment procedures for the quarter window. Make sure you've got the right one to correct the misalignment symptoms you find. After you've verified that the alignment is correct, you can check for some of the more common weather strip and seal problems. If the complaint is a leak at the front header, look at the 2-piece molding that joins with an overlapped joint in the center. There should be black silicone sealer between the 2 pieces at the point where they overlap. If this sealant is missing, or if it's been cleaned off by mistake, reseal the spot. You would be wasting your time if you repaired or replaced the whole header seal when the problem could be solved by replacing the sealant. If the complaint is a leak anywhere along the header seal, don't replace the seal until you've checked the alignment and compression of the seal. A lot of times you can solve a leak problem in this area just by increasing the compression by adding extra retainer foam behind the seal retainer area. Another spot to check when there's a leak in the header area is the upper A-pillar where the seal retainer doesn't go around the corner. Water can seep through this spot and show up in another place inside. A coating of silicone sealant around the retainer foam in both corners of the header will solve the problem. Seal joints, the place where 2 seals butt, are especially important. The ends are designed to meet flush from front to back, so the seal is virtually seamless. A joint that doesn't fit that way needs to be adjusted or realigned. After you've performed the visual inspection and corrected any misalignment conditions, the next step is a check of the mechanical operation of the top. First, cycle the top up and down at least 3 times. Lock the latches every time. You want to check for any binding, squeaking, or rubbing of the mechanism during the full up-down cycle. The top should travel smoothly without any jerkiness, and both sides should travel at the same rate. Check the alignment of the dowel pins to the corner striker plates. Be sure they seat correctly. If the header alignment is okay before you engage the latches but out of line after the latches are engaged, the dowel pins may be forcing the top out of line because they don't line up with the center of the striker plate. To solve that problem, First, loosen the half-inch nut on the back side of the pin. Then visually align the pins to the striker plate and latch the top. Finally, retighten the nut in the new position. Release the top latches and check them to be sure they move freely. Be sure the J-hooks disengage completely from the striker plates. Don't worry if the top has to be powered up or down to latch or release the J-hooks completely. That's normal operation. A mechanical condition that can give you a water leak at the header is a latch that operates too easily. On the other hand, if it works too hard, it can cause excessive wear. In either case, try adjusting the J-hook before making adjustments to the top itself. It's easy to overlook the 1/16 Allen head set screw that holds the J-hook in place. Make sure you loosen it before you try to make an adjustment. Same thing if you've got a latch that won't engage. Try to correct it by adjusting the J-hook before you try to realign the whole top. You only remove the top from its anchor points as a last resort, because that could get you into a long and complicated procedure. By following the correct procedure and using the tech tips, you can save yourself a lot of time and effort. Remember, adjust if you can, repair if you have to. Now that you've done the visual and mechanical inspections and verified that everything is aligned and operates correctly, you can do the water test to find out if any problem still exists. Water test only one area at a time: the windshield header, the A-pillar, the top of the door glass, or the quarter window. Then check for leakage in the area you tested. If you don't find any there, test the next area. Start from the bottom of the roof and slowly work your way up. Remember, convertible top seals aren't designed to withstand extreme high water pressure spray like you get in a do-it-yourself car wash. That's why you use a low-pressure hose to test for leaks. High-pressure tests with a hand wand aren't valid. Take your time as you test. It may take a couple of minutes for water to penetrate a small leak. Be sure to test all contact points. If you don't have a water hose, you can use a spray bottle to isolate water leaks. You follow the same procedure as with a hose, but since there's a lot less water, it may take a little longer to get results. If you do have to use a water bottle, you can find the leak easier if you mix a little liquid soap with the water, have the engine running, and turn on the interior fan. The air pressure inside will cause bubbles to appear at the leak area on the outside. If you follow the diagnostic steps outlined in this video carefully and in order, you'll be able to isolate the cause of a water leak faster, easier, and more accurately. Once you've found the cause, use the shop manual to get the right procedure to either realign or make repairs. And remember, always recheck your work after every repair or adjustment, no matter how small, to be sure you haven't created another problem somewhere else. That's the way to send it out right, and to be sure you won't see it back.